I'm ready when everyone else is.
Thank you.
Cool.
جماعة الخير مواد كانت تطلق صوت أطفال الآن من مخيم إنسانات زي ما انتو سامعين بالظبط حسنا الله ونعم الوكيل طبعا زي ما سمعنا بالصوت أي حد بيطلع امبارح استشهد وشاب طلع مسكين يشوف ايش الصوت في المدرسة طبعا ولا والله لقينا صوت حسنا الله ونعم الوكيل.
Israel's deployment of drones that mimic the sounds of crying children is the latest form of active ambush against Palestinians. Israel has for decades framed Palestinians as heartless while leveraging the hearts of Palestinians to brutally murder them. The war in Palestine is defined by a series of sounds that paradoxically silence and disappear Palestinians. The sound of bombing in the middle of the night or rocket flying is meant to rob Palestinians of their voice. Welcome to Sonic Warfare. Cook away. Maligning temper from Israel took Palestinians to stand up history to get this name of Israeli Palestinian generation after generation with the empty Palestinians are inhabitants of invaded populations. All these cities have been repopulated as well as renamed. History repeats itself. Dozens of Palestinians have left Gaza. One Palestinian mother said she and her children could no longer say the terrifying sonic booms produced by Israeli aircraft flying overhead during the night. These fleeing Palestinians are familiar with the horror currently being endured by Gaza's civilian population. The absence from Gaza will not be more by Israel. Israel fears the presence in the occupied territories of Palestinians who have lived in the West. Those who have influence and speak in a language the non-Arab folks do not understand. Israel's unilaterally hitting the world, even if it has been too embarrassing to declare the fact that the purpose of Israel's current bureaucratic state of days the same as it was in 1948. Again, Palestinian cities, those who remain behind, trapped by walls of concrete and steel, will be powerless to resist unilateral and illegal expansion. But the only noise heard from Palestinians in their cages is the whine of a rocket. We will be told by Israel and its U.S. ally that terror is the only language that the Palestinians know, and in truth it may be the only language that Palestinians have been left to speak. Sonic warfare has already been declared materially based off of the inevitable sonic pressure mobilizes through the all-encompassing atmosphere of fear produced by the perpetual threat of disappearance. Are you next? And will they remember you after you're gone? 5 and 10. It's night, you're sleep dreaming, suddenly the ground begins to tremble, the vibration moves up through your body, continuing your organs until it hits your gut. You won't be able to get back to sleep. These really Air Force using sound bombs and sound bombs in the Gaza Strip. Despite complaints from Palestinians, the government protested that sound bombs were preferable to real ones. Players the aim was to attack the civilian population to weaken morale by creating climate fear through threat assumption unsettling as an attack fear induced by sonic attacks. These virtualized autonomous for the need to economic knowledge for the same benefit unwanted features activated more powerful for its spectral presence to touch the point star has likely to prove provocative to increase the likelihood of common sonic warfare. It has not just individualized emotions but collective affect sound contributes to a atmosphere of fear. It produces about by the song. Sonic does more than merely produce anxiety. Vibration literally affects a very structure of the built environment that traverses planet body subject and object living in non-living. Sonic warfare sketches a map of forces with each sub a discontinuum of vibrational force that traverses military control. Our speeches, stories, and prayers, it's music to our ears, but it's filtered as noise to everyone else. We plead for peace, but they can only hear battle cries. That there's no peace coming, no end to the sounds of rockets and bombs. So we gotta make some noise of our own. If you want to call us heartless, I'll show you heartless. Thus, we endorse air noises as a reduction on U.S. military presence in the West and North Africa. Given to the audience has been subject to militarization, the art of noises, and the assault of bourgeois, the aesthetics, and assault on the harmonic order. The significance of the expressiveness of noise are infinite. Noise enables us to discern and march and control in deep darkness. The darkness noise is intrinsically radical. Is that which lies outside music and music from without rejuvenating and giving it the energy to do anything. You noise is a cultural weapon in an audience social warfare of aesthetics and economics. And the backdrop to the concept of noise and sonic has become intensification of openness and the potential of attacks on dominant Western philosophy, probably given that the merely auditory, arbitrary, military materials and focuses on the privacy of the systemic intermodality and rhythmic vibration and access and autonomous from the presence of a human phenomenological subject. Sonic warfare is therefore as much about the logistics of imperception on sound as it is perception. The centrality of affect. Sonic warfare forces an engagement with theories of affect and the imperceptible air of noise. So plants the voice of the oppressed, which is key to collective national consciousness, I-R-T. Voice of personal linguistic of the social personality. Voices engaged in demonstrating and changing the links between worldly split approaches to the voice. The voice has an active and historical formation such as nationhood or neoliberal academy agency name of song to elucidate culturally and historically variable ideology about the voice. The latter often rely characteristics being ascribed to the voice in order to enact as historically conditioned between semiotic formation of the latter in order to enact as historically conditioned form of vocal performance and particular subject positions. They make it possible for vocal performance subjects to align themselves with semiotic formations and value voices medium through which orient with other engagements of the differentiated framework. So values that shape our social interactions. Don't roll the balance to resist the siren song of law. The law as a construct reduces its own cynicity, one that de-radicalizes momentum in the sonic war. Parker 19, sonic warfare is a politically urgent form of power. Sound can kill, but routinely worrying wounds, terrorizes and coerces. Law sonic imagination is as important as any doctrine style of argument or rule of procedure. Law is not a complicit. It doesn't simply oppose violence, but authorizes and channels it. Law itself is a form of power that by institutional organizers of vocabulary procedure modes of apprehending violence and forms of better change of sonic world. The emergence of sonic warfare cannot be explained by viewpoint politics. It isn't just sound being weaponized in law to the impulse to project and set a scriptural feature is a tool of counterinsurgency. There is no feature like the vibrations of those we have lost. Good and free, the sonic is a portal, the is a thread, and an immediately present future where the present virtually coexists with the resonances and vibrations of the past and opens to its futurity. The sonic dimension reveals a model for challenging the timelines that underpin traditional futures instead of gazing to the far future. A transformation of the futurity folded into the present. The sonic encounter opens onto an accurate non-dual nexus future. Affect reality has battle fought out and moved with dread exterior to the word of itself. Seeing and foreseeing tends to merge so closely that the actual can no longer be distinguished from the potential. Every act of social reproduction is a building block against projects of structural readjustment. Policy aims to fix us, but what if there is nothing broken? Element 16. A performative effort repeated with each reading can be a rupture of institutionality. It works to undo and estrange their logic, individualizing their will to fix us. Sociality itself is resistance to performance of sociality, helps us organize forms of social being that are collective, unoccupied by professionalism and beyond the logic of capitalist alignment, tradition, policies, and nature. The form of political control and management is deputized as first form of command, which controls social reproduction by diagnosing incorrectness for those who are represented to be in need of improvement. Mode and art capitalist planning policy begins with military preservation to escape the procedurals and policy. There is nothing wrong with justice, a term for options of abolition and beneath and beyond the universities and having to write roots cast with fugitive or use our sense of institutions outside where the form of appearance of social being is collectively is determined by through social action and context. I may not live to see the end of the Sonic War. Am I next? Will you remember me after I'm gone?
Are you good for class?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. What is the apt defend?
What do you mean? The app defends a lot of things. We defend using Arab noise, using Arab noise to resist Israeli empiricism. I'm confused.
Okay, does the affirmative defend a reduction in military presence by the United States federal government?
What do you define as military presence?
Does the affirmative remove bases and troops from the Western?
Are you asking if the affirmative is topical?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So how does the affirmative attempt to solve your impacts?
Yeah, sure. We would argue that you don't have to be topical to solve for impacts. We just say that we reorient our forms of sonics orientation to a framework that doesn't filter out Arab noise and Arab calls for peace as indecipherable.
So,
i.e., when the Palestinian person says something, when a Palestinian person calls for something, instead of being like, I don't understand you, because Israel has filtered it out through the white harmonic order, we make an argument that says using sonic differentiations and sonic frameworks is what allows us to be able
okay,
to.
so how does the affirmative spill out and prevent from sonics being used?
So we are gonna you didn't ask a Syria or Iraq how they materially solve for nuclear war. That's not a real spill up impact. But independently, what the affirmative is arguing for is we say that we produce a collective national consciousness that allows Palestinians to mobilize against the Israeli bureaucratic order.
Wait, how? How does the plan lead to Palestinians rebelling against Israel?
Read the Eisenhower evidence, it's really good. Essentially what it talks about is and also wait, I'm confused. What do you mean lead to Palestinians rebelling against Israel? Collective national consciousness and rebelling against Israel are two different things. Rebellion is something that's already been happening. Collective national consciousness is something, it's a mode of affect. It's a feeling that is produced by having a united sonic framework.
Sure, so how does the affirmative create a united sonic framework? Does it try to reorient me or the judge?
I'm confused. If you're trying to make an argument that debate doesn't shape subjectivities, you can do that in the NC. But what the affirmative is uniquely defending is it's talking about reorienting an individual sonic framework that doesn't filter out Arab noise as indecipherable.
Wait, how does the affirmative achieve that though? Is it intrinsic to your reading of the 1AC?
I'm confused. What is your argument?
I'm asking you what your argument is.
The affirmative says that reading things and reorienting our framework towards sonics.
So I'm asking how the affirmative reorients.
I'm trying to explain that to you. Do you want me to finish?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So I'm basically talking about how the affirmative talks about how we reorient our position towards sonics. I.e., we have seen the sonic as the white harmonic order. We see things, we want to interpret things as music, we want to interpret things as pleasurable. Whereas when Arab people call for peace, when Palestinian people call for peace.
Yeah, so how does the app solve that?
I'm trying to explain that to you. So the app is an act of Palestinian and Arab noise. It's an act of sonicity. We just say we have to reorient our framework towards sonicity, i.e. do what the app does. Call out the fact that these drones have been being used to actually try and to resist that. We resist the siren song of law. That is what the app does. It solves through the method.
Okay. I'll send out the 1NC. The order is 3 case.
What's the order on case?
It's gonna be just top down. Do you mind if I use your stand? Where did you? Wait, Salma, do you mind if I use your stand?
Yeah, you can use it.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, wait, it should be in the speech draw.
Yeah, I'm downloading it now.
Does everyone have it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is anyone not ready? Okay, cool. First of all, resolve requires a legislative instrument, private legislative system from state policies to resolve. The United States refers to the federal government, not private entities that could attend in order to remove the United States power government dictionaries are consistent with this government only if not private entities. Substantial total certainty in abandoned actual birth pieces, 64 essential means of full existence, certain present military presence, basic troops, and 8 civil 6 military presence, basic composites, weapons, foreign military assistance, and until they definitely do not meet which is cross-examination. Vote negative versus fairness, absolute limited critical system, point the affirmative passage using substance J from the muscle toward word to that makes reason possible discourages argument, innovation, interest, accessibility outweighs competitions, the only balance is impact tools every aspect of the performance in this debate. They also align for assessments of who deserve the ballot, who negate the affirmative and heartbeat to return the case resulting mechanism of consequences of the case is acceptable for the negative thing to anticipate from other academic forms through contestation, skated research, and truth testing, giving over critical controversies and more possibly defending our policy as well for criticism is the only way to understand nuances and policies of multi policy which policies are even provided in the straight terms are often they will be good at presenting ideas will be outmaneuvering with their ability to convince others with their always better position against contestation is the only way to come better towards the greatest activists which proves only our model position mechanism to actually see from independently switch side debate how to be solve the case and turn the case by creating sparring partners waiting for outside for her gender truth false positive negative assumption distance at the TVA and our background and our they can also take the most radical parts of the critique and bad and read it as a decade against horrible critique of Israeli presence that's off the United States conditions multi presence in Israel on and immediacy starting Gaza Israel which often Gaza Lebanon and West Bank and the God hides with establishment of apostasy with East Jerusalem as its capital and Israel using and use of drugs to salvage military operations assaults effective damage against Palestinians and tells them paradoxically sense and disagree with Palestinians while during U.S. credibility of the poverty humanitarians or respond to help military aid to Israel U.S. assistance violations IHRL undermine commitments that Israel obstacles to win such an humanitarian aid using U.S. support violations by Israel upon the U.S. withhold assistance against U.S. law CAT prohibits RT to violate HR like the law FAA charges of discriminated passing check is running with HL less of the affirmative committed critical education away the screen process of professionalization movement Hardy 13 no one trying to use university because proposition words refusal or refusing nervous when organization comes to professionalization then shaped by what it acknowledges their cause against the sense of critical is going that what is left behind beyond the critical is waste critical education has professional education there to solve professional education everything is religion is opposite more than all it is attempted collusion not progress but counter certainty coming for the started state and strategy recorded as a the center's estimates the presence of the state and vision for progressive pedagogy mirrors a vision to control education quizzes ability to be fair is to support be too much against it creates a danger of elements of the state taking sense of self-contradiction replacing with other forms of social reproduction the very process of developing a productive academic project files complies with logics and is counter to radical politics that the affirmative is resistant is attempted appeal to institutional offer affiliation which you must under freeze within 18th faculty is role based on your code subjectivity that causes me a big political question you become self-contained and logical subject the fact that you have conferences or whatever doesn't indicate that in the end semester individuating written form applies to trajectory start with notes that polish and go through an argument presentation yourself allow me to judge legitimacy and value to conclusion things supposed not to be sure not an intellectual priority case. The role of the ballot is to evaluate the one against the status quo, alternative ending causes of change, still saying and only evaluating the consequences of the final losses to determine the practical impact of politics and reserves the predictable that causes the gain of reduction urban substitute content that records that knowledge and insurance or frame of voting for does not solve that from elevating the one against strategy or noticing on skill or spill over to solve the violence or Israeli violence, etc. Results in a politic for white judges to think that voting affirmative is enough to help in the struggle for cause of liberation, like disposal of external factors like Francis schooling impact has much more losses read and technical state causes. Not quarrel in the truth, otherwise the strategies get frustrated about a various COC is lost for a minute and we prep for months so it won't change our research in the future because is the catalyst of radical change psychological sugar verbal theory rules as a revolution will lead to their after progress will cause go under revolutions where things cannot be caused with mobilizations that are losing something that is more psychologically devastating motivate radical behavior which is time to improve their like this is instinctual desire is operationalized as so the satisfaction performance so you combine with material analysis James 87 claims radicals are rated here's my computer class analysis is surface sales for circuits or artists they risk of support is substantial seizure has are not currently radical they will also just take advantage of has made claims the title of radical however technologies don't declare themselves simultaneously rather than organized politics is planet construction words is such expression political entities such as the structural rules of leaves the cabinet transfers within the claims of the economy and five forms of politics in which relevance is gauged by the alternate intervention of context with others. We should debate about international relations as enormous European development creates difference that are exportable, marked out exportable, lenders, forced structure based or John will play garden or reputation to find a different policy positions aided advance of the willingness and participate in dialogue or made communication service immediate for critical thinking about solutions can reach challenges normative this is less absolute there's less absolute truth than issues subjected to interpretation techniques movement theory rule discussions the role of experience study of ethical development for policy and shaking policies, the role of politics structure, personality, identity, globalization, maybe viewed through ethical base and pride, understanding, diversity, perspective, state, market orientation, key players that way, what world is interpersonal, international conflicts or analogous, stop at analysis would have a competence for all of human activities by diversity, local, government, personal, international, and sensitive providers, agreements, words, or common insights, in which to understand conflict, energy, conflict, person, other recipients, compatible zone, represents the actions against interests and values of others, conflict, crisis, just where struggle just are conflict, whether in personal and national, pursued by peaceful means or force, conflict, complex, however, all conflict solutions, basic conflicts, common, jungle with them, churches, attitudes, behaviors, vaulting, first promote structures, mechanisms, processes, and institutions that influence satisfaction, security, recognition, and identities, attitudes, possessions, and dispositions of each other, and of the self behaviors, actions, they not opposing party intention making, the party changes goals and common, coercion, justice, unifying, conciliation, or hostility, confidence, and advocacy, behaviors are constituted, and influence one another, company, wording, to spread it, naturally restoring conflict, must separate changes that involve the escalation, changes, attitudes, toleration, relationships, that is example of the security, dilemma, which is word of the inevitable uncertainty in all human relations with the security, dilemma, to be burdens of fundamental security, love is foundational, because it engages that essential conditions of security, that thirties all human relations, all these international essential conditions is an entity part of existence of human business, existence, escapable, preferable to live with uncertainties that more with states who have significant security are attained even with an uncertainty, governments can never be 100% certain about the motives of these will have consistent solvable uncertainty, the second, dimensions of otherwise competition and motives, decision making, regretfully, fully the minds of counterparts, understand the motives, attachments, hopes, and feelings, the stimulations that can long-term engagement and political skills, to try to let know one solution, reaching for ethics, teaching and process, foster learning, communication, skills, and outside, enhances understanding what it means to improve, associated with the achievement, motivation, learning, pro, skills, engagement, discipline, regarding differences, decision making skills, and identification, communication, debating forms, self-efficacy, poetry is an interpreter, makes it intelligentsia, feel good while cutting off potential for political action, but 16 is a poetry that we must learn, there's an appeal to idea of process as a way which we can enact change in the will have to be operational, active political literature, create social change, revolution, I have how several led poem, conjugate, will poetry, designs this local to ignore the way in which it's culturally created poetry part, a system of reproduction poetry is not been captured by capital, has been culturally distanced from the active poetry, is also vitality, it has become a work of small in the middle, constant jealousy, by the world class, so as to drain council, the masses, poetry is lost touch with unwilling forces, social change reduction fields, prevents coalitions from reaching a critical mass field, the nobles, leads and occupates the world, the state, and is radical, eventually free from great 18 action, possibly work, change occurs, creating institutions, conflict from the states, they will eventually replace proposed alternatives, their religions, apparatus, and internal focus with various submission of potential offices, as a inheritance to details of the false theories, left attempting forward to collective and helping as equal accomplishing strategy based on universal principles, steady forward, make examples of this means follow positions must satisfy every participant, which leads to the lowest common denominator of coordinated tactics and really prone others to separation because it's very likely kind of we're taking this divides into context here about parties, movements are accountable to communities where Ortega has not been offended, and effectively the president reports the obsession with academic novelty tends to the historical continuity. The card was cut at continuity, the grade 18. Grade 18.
Cool. Didn't read anything after that?
Nope.
Okay. Give me a moment. Good for cross?
Yep.
Awesome. So about the Monta and Harmonic critique, you say that the app is committed to critical education that secures the process of professionalization. What is professionalization?
Well, the argument that Gray is making is that critical education is an adherence to perfecting things such as, or the motion and party evidence says that the affirmative is a form of professionalization that tries to perfect arguments that are being made in the academy.
What is professionalization?
The professionalization just means that arguments are better suited for the academy and are trying to be successful in a professional setting, i.e. the academy. Yeah, the argument is that the affirmative's critical education is bad.
What does professionalization of Palestinian noise look like?
Well, the argument we're trying to make is that the affirmative's reading of the literature as trying to forward change within the academy.
I'm asking you, what does it look like? When you say Palestinian and Arab noise is professionalized, what does that look like?
Well, the argument we're trying to make is that you're trying to include other, you're trying to perfect the academy by trying to include
Can you pull a line from the 1AC that perfects the academy?
The motion and party evidence says that you're committed to critical education,
which Moten and Harney in the 1AC. So can you pull a line from the 1AC?
Well, all of the 1AC is trying to perfect all of the affirmative is trying to
saying that we are actively rejected by every white institution ever. Read a line in the 1AC that perfects the academy.
The affirmative is trying to do things such as perfect social reproduction of things and such as resisting the siren law, song of law. These are all things that the affirmative advocacy academy do.
Resisting the song of law, how? How is that a reproduction? First, what?
Resistance within the academy is bad. The affirmative's reading of the reading of the affirmative. Well, also in cross-examination, you said you were trying to reorient ourselves. That
what
is all things.
What is the academy? What is
academic spaces such as journals, etc.
Journals, etc. That's awkward. Okay, cool. Let's go to the TVA. What's the TVA?
Yeah, the TVA is the second off.
Sorry. Oh, okay. The TVA is just the second off.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, how does an immediate ceasefire in Gaza like solve for sonic booms when like the United States does not fund sonic UAVs?
Well, the argument is that we say that we will remove military presence unless Israel creates an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, which solves your impacts, because all of your arguments are like about like what happens.
Okay, how does that reorient our framework towards sonics?
Well, it solves 100% of the affirmative, because if we're telling Israel that they're not going to be able to use like sonic weapons due to a ceasefire, then that means that.
Wait, sorry. Like Israel, or like we've read a claim that says Israel says that like these are not equated to real weapons. So how does a ceasefire, i.e., stopping like materially?
Well, the counterpoint also conditions aid on things that it literally says ending the use of drones and sound bombs in military operations, which certainly solves the affirmative.
Cool, that's fine. Can I have my stand?
Yeah. Do you want me to put it somewhere?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
I'll start prep. We're using 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Anything you read that was not in the doc?
Nope.
Cool. Sorry, do you read truth testing? You just say contestation is key to research and truth testing.
Yeah, wait,
Oh, cool.
determining whether or not the affirmative is true. We don't read like the rule of the ballot is like to determine the truth and falsity or anything.
That's fine. Do you make an SSD argument?
Yeah.
What's it? What is it?
Switch side debate and TVA solved by creating sparring partners.
No,
They
just
can
what
take-
is the SSD argument?
Oh, the
You
switch.
didn't read that as a critique on an egg?
Yeah, taking the most radical parts of their critique, such as state bad, and reading it as a neg K against a topical critique of your Israeli presence solves your
Cool,
offense,
that's fine.
and leads to debates about whether or not state action is good.
You're good. Can you pick individual blanks?
No.
Cool. Cool. 310 use. I might read a card. I might not. I'm not sure. I'll send it after if I do end up reading it.
What's the order?
Case, Austin order.
Okay, I'm good.
Wait, what?
Case, Austin order. So case, T, CP, conceded those impulses govern our relationships to be because their procedures nationalized must be learned from act to embrace air movements and epistemic process that emphasizes continued engagement with the streams, tracks, and piece of air people actively embracing using our bodies as echoes for air freely that affirms collective national agency and emboldens broader resistance, except that the role of the values resist the siren song of why independently they did not answer this. All they said was anything else is self-serving and arbitrary, but they don't explain why. There's no word as to why resisting the siren song of law is uniquely self-serving or uniquely arbitrary, but independently James 97 people are being materially killed by sonic booms. This heart makes absolutely no sense. The land shot that this power diagram doesn't even say the word frame or group roads, group, booth, and Woodhouse and the goal is incompatible is proof that they filter out our calls for peace as noise because they literally read a counter plan that says ceasefire good that they claim solves for affect and politics, which means not only is this a double term, but it calls for peace when not, but it also proves that calls for peace when non-Palestinian debaters call for them. Also, Web 16, the absence of poetry independently, they haven't read a definition of poetry. We will maintain that the absence of air noise rejection fails. We don't reject anything, we just use another method. This doesn't explain what we're rejecting. Go to the presumption page. One, the after shot material mindset conceded that our orientation towards honest is key to producing Palestinian collective national agency, which is necessary to mobilize activism. That's conceded. Eisenhower is trying to offer a model that energizes Palestinian communities too. Presumption begs the question about how often causal connection is arbitrary standard because the presumption is we have to fill out, which is not an argument that any policy has to help, which proves our argument that anti-black anti controls how you make arguments, and also we do not need to win the AFCO over, we only need to win that the affirmative method is good the same way you Iraq doesn't need to stop actual strikes happening right now in Iran on ballot key stuff. The point of the ballot is to hold people accountable in any mode of debate. You vote against debaters that make bad arguments and hold them accountable and make good ones. That explicitly means if you think that the app is good, good app, also means the movement and impact going to drop anything is key to racial accountability. Debate is the best tool of the software privileging weapons of political analysis and speech for warning others and always the one that is conceded as uniqueness. The game is changing for Palestinian people. Cookaway literally said that Israel is unilaterally changing the rules, which calls for different orientation to how we think about it in order to combat the sonic war. One counter people defend violation and impact their model. Impact are good. There's no word for why two testing is good in the T-show, but impact are good. A piece to garner offense on T or to overstage for negative topicality. So trying to prove your exclusionary. You should lose concede that Palestine suffering is rooted in the sonic war. Our job is to advocate legislation is to challenge it and evidence. It's crossed by the role of value that with the sonic war is the only thing that is external because it implicates interpersonal relations, but spills out to policy, the cultural embrace policy, the illegal discourse over the channel provides the original topical debate is a form of political control that filters out air noise is indecipherable, turning into terms like quote unpredictable and unlimited. These terms of control or social reproduction by diagnosing the quote age brackets of tragedies outside the frame of their understanding, which locks in silence and development. They conceded two preempts to T, the Parker evidence and the Belmed evidence. Three, unfairness is necessary, given two sets of militarization of the audience here. Demands of racial song away from on the border, including in debate, and for the vision of the debate, and radical imagination, favor review for product politics, and space and an internal link to that. They read about her 15 years, but move away from radical imagination, focus on institutions while taking value of discourse. Forget revolution, must transform us on the universe from Monday to PCB, for which the limited legal research is rushed to make recommendations. I believe trying to bring to prevent small changes, but this is debate is accidental political movement. There's no trans case for it. You should read the NT if it wasn't there. You are voting on it. The two are arguing impact your class is arguing the way on TV and proper TV is involved in the United States is a bug sonic UAPs, and the way my institution will think about the sonic war and will still be the same as the liquid evidence doesn't talk about the affect of ambush as part of power time really badly on suicide debate, not stay bad, doesn't solve for air, really proper, it doesn't even explain with the theory of power, the alternative looks like they're not giving them credence to this, and the 2 hour go to they counterclaim for vote from the ethnicity PS proves the yes terms no they're not proving with TVA, but independently there's a massive deficit. The US has implied these real sonic weapons and doesn't solve for any of our arguments about the immateriality, sonic war, and how air system and predator noise. Independently this is liquid evidence doesn't say anything about the affect of politics, which proves that they're just reading power time cards about IR in the meta. Go to the academy, can't concede that air noise lies outside of politics, which no one's critique because air noise is something that is actively rejected and condemned by the academy, and using it as the only way to change the academy's ability to filter out what we view as civilized process. What's embarrassing, we asked them what the academy was, they couldn't answer it, they literally just said quote journals. What the hell is that? Then we also asked them what it looks like when Palestinian noise is quote professionalized. They couldn't say that either. We're literally saying that this is terminally not unique. People already profit off of the violence of Palestinians and the status quo. Those are news articles. That's all. You can literally watch the word fucking HD on social media and no links to K.
Okay, I have 5 minutes. What was the argument made on T about bureaucratic politics?
I'm gonna send the card really quick.
It was a card.
For what? Wait,
The argument about bureaucratic politics.
Yeah, that's a card. That's a card.
Okay, sure. And then the argument after the card was there's no trans case warrant, you cannot vote on it.
There were a few arguments after the card. Which one are you talking?
Like the one directly after the card was there's no trans case warrant, right?
There's no trans case warrant. You should read the NC if it wasn't written here.
Okay, yeah, that was like the very next argument.
Yeah, the impact on clash, which means the argument goes away.
Do you mind explaining the double, or like what was the double turn argument made on case?
1 sec. I'm just sending the card.
Okay.
Cool, it's dropped. The double turn argument made on Case was basically like, here, let me find it. Group, Booth, and Woodhouse saying the goal is, quote, incompatible is proof that they filter out our calls for peace as noise because they literally read a counter plan that says ceasefire, good, that they claim solves for affective politics, which means not only is it a double turn, but calls for peace work when non-Palestinian debaters call for them.
T counterplan K case. Or yeah. Can I have this?
T counterplan K case.
Yep. Cool. Is everything good? Okay. Everyone good? Curtis. Okay. Salma. Cool.
You're going to be voting negative because they conceded every reason why fairness outweighs and every single reason why subjectivity does not spill over inside of the one and two. Competition is inevitable, intellectual to any benefits of debate. Anyway, model of debate where the teams are prepared to engage each other is a prerequisite to any of their offense. Their interpretation over such to the negative, it makes it possible to predict the affirmative, which creates a moral hazard where the affirmative marches the margins and the topic becomes conditional, which zeroes the negative because teams that have a perverse incentive to read things like racism bad, which the negative cannot negate without being violent. That creates but zeroes the negative. Any argument that they make cannot be disentangled from or it will be prepared for its only impact that the ball can solve, which also answers all their impactions because they leverage their unpredictable advocacy in order to try to take out the negative. They're two important arguments. First, you don't have a ballot where you can agree with the affirmative civil and negative with the net benefit of fairness. You can do that without the ballot and get a similar result. That's hidden ball pick that they've dropped. You must protect it. One of the one shortcuts, a bunch of myths with very little explanation or contextualization to how it outweighs topicality, which means that if you cannot draw a warrant from the one to the twelve, you must vote negative. Independently outweighs at least info processing and critical real facility, which allows you to find alternative proposals and be well-defined advocacy, which allows you to export your movement into the real world, in which flips absolency. That means our model is best for real world solvency, and that's good because at least argument refinement by identifying flaws and finding ways to solve them and trigger flesh out movement. The only way we can do this is through iterative solvency over the resolution, over topical stasis point. Now, the counter-interpretation is functionally unlimited because there are infinite things that you could, there are infinite things that the affirmative could do for. For example, they defend the violation, which means that not being topical, that opens the floodgates to arguments like racism bad, or that racism bad, sexism bad, etc., which the negative cannot defend, and also is functionally unlimited because the different teams can defend different methods to resolve violence in the world, which is a moral hazard. Now, you say no reason why truth isn't good. It's necessary to prevent false positives and determine whether or not your movement is good or bad in the world. Even you might think the affirmative is a good idea in this debate, but that's because we were unable to engage with it, which means that the only way we can determine whether or not things are good or bad in the real world is by and preventing false positives and error replication in the world is by determining whether or not the affirmative is good or bad, which can only be done through a topical stasis because it allows the negative to engage with it. You said topicality is exclusionary. Topicality is not exclusionary at all because topicality is also read against white debaters to preserve for the negative. For example, we also read topicality against policy apps, against white poet teams, which answers all their arguments about why topicality is inherently exclusionary independently. There's no reason why the affirmative can solve this because it doesn't prevent topicality from being read in other runs, and people are still going to read different arguments that exclude certain types of comment in other runs, which means that there's no reason why it spills over. Now, you say classify the role of the ballot and implicates interpersonal relations. There's no reason why debate state sensitivity. You conceded that school, family, and friends all thumb and clash straight to this because the benefits of debate are topic agnostic. Additionally, you might vote for white, but you don't think extinction is good, which means that ballots do not correlate with truth, which is an argument that they've dropped from the case page. It is explicitly made in the 1 and C Otherwise, it's bad because good debaters export bad strategies, which turns all of the affirmative. You say it's a form of political control. It is not a form of political control. It's not a form of political control, because it's not racist argument is not racist argument explains above. Independently, topicality is good for the inclusion of minorities because if the affirmative is most inclusive because if the affirmative does not defend anything, then the only teams who can keep up with the proliferation of endless affirmatives are big schools, which means that minorities are crowded out who just want to come and debate the topic independently. The independently switch side debate solves all their offense. It solves all their offense. Reading the most radical parts of the affirmative as a negative solves 100% of your offense because there's no reason why reading this as the affirmative is key. Reading it as a negative is better because it allows the affirmative to leverage, say, good offense against a critique, and it allows contextual links to debates about. It allows contextual links to determine whether or not the state is not good or bad, and allows for debates about their model better. Now, the next argument is about bureaucratic politics, but that is better. It's not radical, but our interpretation is better for KBK debates because KBK debates no link argument on the motion and party critique proves that no link is contextual to the affirmative absent a topical stasis. So the only way to determine what radical change is good or bad is by comparing it to state action, which is also best because it simulates real opposition against the state, which your movement is necessary to be. You say there's no turns case argument, and you impact your clash, but clash is inherently good, and fairness is inherently good, which allows you to mobilize your strategy. And it was extended above. You said the TVA doesn't solve, and the comment doesn't talk about the affirmative, but dissents, you can see that dissents are negative ground because they prove that there are things that you can read as a critique against a topical affirmative, and also allows affirmatives contextualize the reasons why state have in-depth discussions about whether state action is good or bad to resolve the impacts of the affirmative, i.e. any dissent they read is a reason why your critique would be viable as a negative against your affirmative, but affirmatives would have an in-depth defense of their state action if they read a soft left act with their arguments, which solves all their offense. You say it doesn't explain what theory of power it looks like. That is just a deficit of the countermeasure, which once again can be read as a critique. The calendar plan and the critique were conceding through permutation, and the no link argument, but it bolsters why the negative is not able to engage the affirmative as a topical stasis point, which is explained above, not the case. The role of the ballot is to vote for the better debater based off your flow. You say there's no reason why it's arbitrary and self-serving, but it is because it excludes certain types of content that are not related to the affirmative, which is inherently arbitrary because there's no reason why debate should center around anti-sonic movements. Anti-sonic movements or interpretations is much more inclusive because it includes arguments that are not just about the affirmative, but also includes their arguments, which solves all their offense. You say it filters out the affirmative. Topicality is not exclusionary, which is answered above, and TVA and switch side debate solves because we include discussions about the alternative anyways. You say you don't reject anything, you just use it as a method. This is is different from reading a policy affirmative because you abandoned the topic, therefore you must have a reason why abandoning the topic is good because we are unable to engage with their arguments. The only thing the val can solve is evaluation of fairness in round. Independently, you solve the affirmative. You say the affirmative solves material violence. You conceded. You barely responded to arguments about why state action is necessary to solve material violence, which the affirmative does not defend. You conceded the evidence, which you conceded the evidence in the 1 and C, which specifically says that people only are able to revolt from the global south if they have hope, which only have hope because they have more to lose. Otherwise, if they're living in bad conditions, they don't know what it's like to have good things, which means that only state action, i.e., debating about fiated actions, allows us to determine whether or not things are, or allows us to solve their impacts. Vote negative because they conceded every reason why fairness outweighs. Hold the line.
Thanks. I have 2 minutes.
I have 210.
I have 210 left?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Did you extend presumption?
I said that the affirmative cannot spill out.
Oh,
Or
cool,
shape
cool.
subjectivity.
That's fine, that's fine.
And it also said state action key.